Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another movie reaction and commentary. Today, we're going to be hopping into Blade Runner 1982, and yes, this is going to be a rewatch. However, I haven't watched this film in like 8, maybe 9 years, so it's going to be cool hopping back into the film. If you guys didn't know already, one of my favorite films is the sequel to this, actually, which is Blade Runner 2049. And again, I am focusing on these type of films because currently on the Patreon we are looking at certain aspects of filmmaking, and we are looking at the cinematography of things. So if you look at the past several films that we've looked at, we have been primarily looking into cinematography, how it affects the story, how it's integrated within the story, or if it just seems to take the mantle and create the story itself through its own artistic cinematography. Now, this is going to be a really fun one because, again, Blade Runner 2049 is one of my favorite films, specifically for its cinematography, but also for a lot of other things too. However, it's going to be really fun jumping back into the older film, the prequel, and looking at the cinematography from there, but also reliving the experience that I remember putting myself through when I first watched this. This is like one of the sci-fi films that engaged me in such a way that just the only way I can describe it was inspiring. It was inspiration to me. There's like Ghost in the Shell as well too. There's other sci-fi novelties that are just monumental to just who I am as a person. And Blade Runner, the 1982 one and the sequel, is definitely prime for that. So it's going to be cool hopping into this now that I'm older. I'm a little bit wiser. I kind of understand art a lot more, and the reasonings and intentions behind certain reasons, and it's good to hop back into something like this that truly means a lot to me. It's just I haven't dived back into it in quite some time. So again, let me rephrase. This is a rewatch, so definitely, if you want to be able to hear all that I have to say, because this might be a little bit more commentary based, if you want to hear more, you guys know where to find it. You can go on the Patreon, sync up your copy of this film next to mine, and literally hear all that I have to say about this film. You can also support this channel by leaving a like, comment, and subscribe, and at the end of the day, you don't have to do any of those things. I hope that you can just sit back, relax, get your popcorn and snacks as we hop into Blade Runner 1982. Well, it was made in 1982. It's not titled Blade Runner 1982. It's just Blade Runner. It's just a regular Blade Runner. Another thing I want to mention too, I might hop into this aspect next, but it's definitely like sound design or, soundtracks as well too. Man, the original Blade Runner, I love 2049 soundtrack by Hans Zimmer, but the original Blade Runner, I forgot what is Angelos. Oh man, I can't think of the producer's name. But what a fantastical soundtrack to have over a dystopian world like Blade Runner. I love it. I listen to it all the time. Tears in the Rain, so good. So good. In the 21st century, the Tyrell Corporation advanced robot evolution into the Nexus phase, a being virtually identical to a human known as a replicant. The Nexus 6 replicants were superior in strength and agility, and at least equal in intelligence to the genetic engineers who created them. Replicants were used off-world as slave labor in the hazardous exploration and colonization of other planets. After a bloody mutiny by a Nexus 6 combat team in an off-world colony, replicants were declared illegal on Earth, under penalty of death. Special police squads, Blade Runner units, had orders to shoot to kill upon detection any trespassing replicant. This was not called execution. It was called retirement. I used to stutter when I was younger. So it's cool getting through things like that. They said this is 2019 LA. I don't see any difference. I'm joking, obviously. But I love that when it opened up, again, the soundtrack makes it sound like there's a fantastical element. But again, you're greeted with the roaring fires of this dystopian universe. Like smog fills the sky and the lights just kind of pierce through.
Nice place?
Yeah, sure, I guess. Is that part of the test?
No. Just warming you up, that's all. not fancy or anything.
I love that, you know, you can you can hear so many things trickling within this scene. You know, just the background of all the digits and the codes kind of running its thing, and then the sprinkles of the soundtrack here and there, just like serenading us. It's interesting. It's cool.
Let me tell you about my mother.
Woo! I don't remember this at all. I don't remember this at all. That made my whole spine just fly out of my back. That was crazy. Damn. Love it. It's so cool, man. This world that they've built is so cool. I love that the camera just allows us to soak all of it in. You know, that's what I really loved about the sequel is that it didn't alleviate the fact that, you know, lingering on shots is like the whole thing with this. It really gives you time to immerse with everything. Damn. It's so good. It's so good. It's really cool watching something like this, especially during like a rewatch where I don't want to call it nostalgic, but it's like, you know, you're like going through your pockets and you pull out like a $20 bill and you're like, oh, snap. Another thing, too, that they've done a great job in terms of cinematography um, on a technical level is using a lot of wide lenses, you know, a lot of lenses that allow us to get a sense of space and suck us into that sci-fi realm, but also into like, you know, the environments that aren't within the city too.
Hiya, Deck.
I feel like it makes those shots that are now closer in that much more important. There he is. I know that dude is a problem. That guy is a problem. You know, another thing that I gotta mention is the connection between the character and the landscape as well. And the reason why I'm saying there's a connection and why I'm pinning it with cinematography, as well as good editing, is that when you show these incredible landscapes, right, we're able to cut back to our characters' reactions to them. It's not just like a montage of landscape transitioning to another landscape, transitioning into another landscape, just to showcase passage of time. But what we're getting here is that same element, but with our character in a more subconscious way, just trying to figure out his thoughts about all of this.
What's that gonna prove?
Indulge me.
On you?
Try her.
Damn, I just love how sci-fi this is. How intelligently sci-fi this is. It's so cool. Not to say that there's anything wrong with sci-fi that isn't intelligent. You know, it's just for me personally, I just feel like the filmmaking is just so much like in the good hands. It's just rewarding. Everyone wins.
Few years in which to store up the experiences which you and I take for granted. If we gift them with the past, we create a cushion or pillow.
Another thing I really love about Blade Runner is just the lighting as well. I love that the lighting is intentional, but it's intentionally not perfect. Like, I love how this isn't lighting up our main character's face, you know? It just seems a lot more natural, which I personally think is great lighting. I feel like lighting that is set in a way where it kind of almost replicates organic lighting, natural lighting that would be there. That's usually great lighting. Now you can always up that if you want to, you know, change it for more of a surrealist approach. Maybe translate a theme that is a lot more ambiguous, almost like a dreamscape. But for here, where reality and surrealism kind of like clash, it's really cool seeing high level lighting being used to replicate natural lighting in this high level society, I guess you could say. I guess another way to describe it is that it doesn't feel like a sci-fi film. It feels like a noir detective story within a sci-fi world.
Good to see you. So I waited. Let me help.
I gotta say, everybody's coats are phenomenal here. It may be a dystopian universe, but my God, the fashion is popping.
You want a drink?
Want a drink? I'll get you a drink.
It's cool because he said that previously, but he said it differently. You know, that's really good writing right there. When a character can say something like the same thing previously and then say it again and just have a whole different emotional output. And again, I love this soundtrack. Oh my goodness. It's just so beautiful. It truly is like love in a dystopian universe. That's what it feels like. Ooh! Oh man. Yo, the chills. So good. Man. You know, it really does bring elements from that noir, that noir genre, that crime, that true crime drama. You know, just within, even in the shots as well too. I'm not sure if I said it already, but even again, like the cinematography shots here, and just how the story and our characters revolve around it, it just feels like such a good noir crime film. That's a shot right out of Ghost in the Shell. That shot looks like, oh man. If you guys watch Ghost in the Shell, you guys know what I'm talking about. But that looked right out of Ghost in the Shell with that giant blimp in the sky.
About your friends.
I have some, but I have to find them. I'll let them know where I am tomorrow.
Oh?
That's crazy that you can hear whispering. What on earth? That is wild. I don't think I picked that up last time. I didn't have headphones like these. But again, I love that we are getting wide shots. I love that, you know, the lighting within these frames just looks so authentic. It takes such a high level of cinematography and in the lighting sense to kind of really bring those spaces to life in that way, you know? They probably have some giant light boxes just just all over the place off the frames.
Enhance. Stop.
Again, I love how much light is such a character in this. You have this pulsating, radiating light just kind of like panning in and out of, you know, the windows, and it's just leaking in. It just makes these scenes just become so much more alive. It works very weirdly in your subconscious. So it's really hard talking about it because it's such a weird collection of things that I can say, but you'll only understand it if you feel it. That was such an interesting shot. You know, it's interesting that the actual entertainment was just this blinding light. I don't know. I just found that to be interesting. I'm not sure if it says anything beyond the context of what I just said, but that was just a fairly interesting shot.
Is this a real snake?
Of course it's not real. Think I'd be working in a place like this if I could afford a real snake?
Yeah, that just goes to show you, like, how far it's gone. I love how the close shots that we're getting are through here, just to make you feel claustrophobic, because that's probably how it feels like to be in this. So it's cool to have some close shots throughout this chase scene, because I feel like I know why they are doing that. The purpose of actually using the close-ups here rather than, the plenty other instances where they could have done that. Wow, how that is shot, quite literally, is is intense. Just having her break through the glass, just kind of like breaking through all of the distractions, and then just like how the blood is just seeping throughout her clothes. Damn. Damn. He slapped that thing quick out of his hands.
Wake up. Time to die.
Damn. Damn. I forgot she pieced him. I forgot she pieced this dude. There's something so enchanting with her just not blinking at all. Like, you almost like try to fill in the void, like the thoughts that are within her mind. And I feel like whenever they have really interesting frames like that one, I don't know, it's cinema. I think it's everything great with storytelling, and how cinematography can really enrich that experience. Just the moments where nobody is talking, where things are just being done. Dude, that was so crazy. That was so crazy. I remember back then when I first watched it, I was like, dude, what? That's a little strange. Now that I'm older, obviously, um, it's just it's like two people, whether they are human or not, experiencing affections and memories of their own. And that conversation relating to how technology is such it has so much more than realism right now. That saying that the girl said previously, saying that, oh, if I had a real snake, I wouldn't need to be here. It's much easier getting a fake one.
I like you. Just the way you are. Hi, Roy.
That was equivalent to say, hi, Tyrone. Oh my goodness, bro. Dude just walked up in there.
Queen to bishop 6. Ridiculous.
I love that this also shows Tyrell at his core as well, too. This dude just goes by his day and just plays chess every day. But just hearing his comments over that just really lets you know the pride he has over his quote-unquote geniusness.
I'm surprised you didn't come here sooner.
It's not an easy thing to meet your maker.
Damn. Wow, man, what a line. He said it's not an easy thing to meet your maker. Oh, man.
Operating cells.
Wouldn't obstruct replication, but it does give rise to an error in replication, so that the newly formed...
I love how these two almost look like chess pieces as well, like just with their outfits. You got Tyrell in the white, you got their homie in the black, and then the conversation is just intelligence, It's like, who's going to checkmate who? Damn, that looks so cool, man. 1982, bruh. That looks so cool. I don't know, Blade Runner is like one of those places where I can see myself living, but I don't think I would want to be an NPC. Like, I feel like I'd have to be like a main character-ish type person in that area. Otherwise, I feel like it would just suck. You know, another thing too, I want to say, which could also lead to the reason why there's so many wide shots, is because this is so location heavy. You know, there's so many locations and it's dense with just detail. I don't blame him for wanting to get wide shots because if I'm gonna spend all that money, especially on the locations, you damn right I'm gonna be showcasing all of it. Oh my goodness. Man, I love how things are just correlating. Everything is just correlating. You know, they're doing things one way, and then in a few seconds later, they're doing the same thing, but it just is differently. So you're really able to like interpret a lot, even though your brain's scrambling right now.
You better get it up. I'm gonna have to kill you.
Oh man, this dude is psycho. He is psycho. It's so crazy that he pulled him up with that hand too. Such an interesting character, man. There's so many interesting elements in this movie. It's pretty awesome. She decides that this dude's calves. No wonder he cleared that dude.
Seeing things you people wouldn't believe.
Oh, I love this monologue. It's so good.
In rain.
I love how there's just this illumination just glowing behind him. He almost feels like an angel, hence the dove. Especially with just how his story is, you know, and him meeting his maker.
It's too bad she won't live. But then again, who does?
It's cool to see him in the sequel.
It's too bad she won't live. But then again, who does?
Yeah, homie was looking out for you. He was looking out for you on that one.
Who does?
Again, I love the parallels between these closer, intimate shots with the wider shots and how... that's so good. Guys, and that is the end to Blade Runner. All right, everybody, we just got done Blade Runner, the original movie. This, man, it's I don't want to call it nostalgia because it's not like, you know, this film, I watched it the moment it was created, right? This is 1982. The last time I watched this was like somewhere between 8 to 10 years ago. But when I say that this film is inspirational, not only was it inspirational to me as a kid, you know, just with the surface levels of it, but even as a kid, I was pretty self-aware. So I was able to challenge my perspective going through the film for the first time and then diving into all the theories and all of that. But, you know, coming to it now as an older person, as someone that is a lot more wiser within storytelling, filmmaking, and just overall life experience, this film is truly special. Like, you can really hear it in the soundtrack. Whereas I feel like in 2049, the soundtrack is more of like truth, or the journey towards truth, which is a little bit more chaotic, hence the soundtrack being a lot more chaotic in that film. But here, I feel like it juggles so much, like with love, with, you know, what is human, what is emotion, and the enchantment of the world around them, and how once it's all put together, there's this, like, again, fantastical, like this fantasy level of almost like looking through glass, and it's like refracting everything, and the emotion I get from that, even though again this story is very contained because of its, you know, crime crime mystery nature, like we mentioned before, noir, and just how the cinematography really was able to keep everything just contained because of its approach and shooting in a noir aspect, leaving a lot of wide angles, allowing us to really get the parallels between the individual with the overall swimming pool of an environment, right? And as we go throughout this story, we're getting droplet after droplet after droplet, but only then we're just really seeing how big the ocean is. It was really satisfying seeing him clear through that ocean, clear through the mist and the fog, and the falseness, the false realities, the fakeness, and go after something real, pursuit after what's real. And I think that was really well felt this time around, with my, watch through of it this time. But again, just the cinematography within this, the lighting is, it's so good. I'm pretty sure I said it before, but the reason why I feel the lighting is so masterful here is because, and obviously lighting is, under the umbrella of cinematography, hence why I'm talking about it, is because throughout a sci-fi world, or even with worlds that are like, very futuristic, the lighting, and this also does come into play with like CGI and the difficulty of matching the light with CGI, but with this one, I could tell there was probably oil paintings, there was probably miniature figures as well too. So there was a lot of things that helped ground reality and allowed the light to shine, quite literally. But more importantly, because this story is very focused around a crime thriller or a noir aspect, detective, a lot of elements were, especially in interior buildings, the lighting was so masterful, and not because of like, it's like, look at all the really cool effects and the flying cars. No, I consider it excellent because with the interior that they were working with, they were able to incorporate still a very futuristic element to things, with the lighting and the mechanics around the lighting. However, the lighting was still very organic. It felt very human. It felt very natural for, this dystopian world. And really good lighting, like people who are able to truly understand the feeling of lighting and the reasoning to why lighting is important, especially in those scenes, is because of that same feeling I just mentioned, that organic, that natural element. And it's really hard to replicate that hilariously. It's really hard to copy that. And it's just funny saying that within the context of this film, but yeah, it was really beautiful. I already said a lot throughout, the runtime about the cinematography and also primarily the lighting. But again, that soundtrack is just beautiful. I gotta end this off with saying, that soundtrack is beautiful. Every time I hear it, it just does something to me. It makes me feel human in a world that is inhuman, which is kind of cool in a way. So I would love to hear your thoughts down below. This was an awesome rewatch. Let me know if you guys want to see more rewatches as well too. I feel like I'm able to comment a little bit more on these. So if you guys are interested in those type of stuff, you guys know what to do. You can let me know down below in the comments. Let me know if these things are if you're learning as well. Like, I really want to know if you guys are learning as well too. So like always, guys, stay healthy and stay hydrated, because we're just getting started.
Purple jacket, pocket full of weed. Everything that I should ever need. Grab some matches cause they give them free. Just like my time. Hair pulled back in the backseat.